usually, very good. Okay. So the way we ran it for the first couple of times was that questions just came organically during the chat. Of course, none of you should expect the speakers to look at the chat window during the talk, right? That's just not realistic. But you are still welcome to ask your questions during the talk. So maybe if it's clarification question, maybe someone from the audience will be able to help you out, right? If it's just something that you want, if it's just a suggestion to the speaker will be able to read it later. If it's an actual question that would still need answering towards the end of the talk, the speaker will read all questions towards the end of the talk. So perhaps kind of I will help the speaker a little bit. So I would go through questions kind of as they appear, and towards the end of the talk, kind of when we do Q&A, I prompt people who asked questions that went unanswered to answer them again by copy pasting them from the chat. Okay? Right, so if you ask the question and then you may be asked to ask that question again in the end, and then the speaker will be in a better position to answer. Right, so that just to make it more convenient for the speaker so that the speaker doesn't have to scroll through everything. Okay, so I think that's about it organizationally. Dominic, did I miss anything? Okay. Something that you should maybe try to do is practicing raising your hand. That will be useful for Q&A, right? So one format to ask a question is to type it into the chat directly. So another way to do it would be to raise your hand in the end, and then I can call on you to ask your question. So to raise your hand, you can open the chat window, the participants window, one of those, right? And then on the right, you'll have a bar with many options like blue hand that says raise hand, green button for yes, red button for no, these things. So you'll see the chat on top, and below that you'll see some buttons. So if you press the raise hand button, your hand will be raised. So how about we all practice doing that right now? So I'll start by raising my hand. Everyone else? Okay, lots of people. Okay, so if you press that button again, your hand is no longer raised, right? So let's go back to the original state now. Unraise your hand. Raise, unraise. Good. Okay, so I think we're clear on technicalities now. So let's start with our talk. So we have two talks today. So one is by Ágnes Cseh and the other one is by Remzi Sanver. So now we have a mixture of, computational and more traditional social choice in this session. So Ágnes is the first speaker. So let me, okay, she'll be able to introduce herself in more detail, but let me just say that Ágnes has done a lot of exciting work kind of on matchings in particular. She's worked she did her PhD in Germany, I believe. She worked in Hungary for a while, and right now she's based in Germany as well, in Potsdam, and she'll be talking about popular roommate assignments. Okay, so let's welcome Ágnes. Ágnes, feel free to start sharing the screen and.
Excellent, thank you very much, Edith. So is the screen visible to everyone? Yes.
Yes, to me.
Okay, very good. So this is a short talk on short but very intensive progress on the so-called popular roommates problem. I'll start with a very short introduction on stable roommates because it belongs to the material, and then elaborate on lots of very exciting results on the popular roommates problem, and then I will finish with a couple of open questions that are hopefully exciting you and intriguing to start working on a topic. So the stable roommates problem, which sort of serves as a base for the popular roommates problem, is defined as follows. We have a graph consisting of these 6 vertices, for example, and the edges are labeled. So an edge means that an agent, the agents sitting on the 2 end vertices of the edge know each other, and they are eager to move together in a 2-person room together. And the numbers on the edges are the rank. So if you take a look at agent A, then he considers D, E, and B as possible roommates. He doesn't want to move together with C or F. And A's first choice is D, that's number 1 on edge AD. His second choice is B, and his third choice is E. Okay, so these are the numbers on the edges. The lower the numbers, the better the edges are. And we look for a roommate assignment for 2-person rooms. That's a matching in graph theoretical terms. So if you take the 3 blue colored edges, that's obviously a matching. That means that A and D move together, B and E move together, C and F move together. We only talk about 2-person rooms always. Now, if you have heard of the stable marriage problem, the difference here is that there are no men and women. The graph is not bipartite. That's the only difference. So stability as an optimality notion requires that there is no blocking edge. This is the same as in the stable marriage case, which should be known to most people in this audience. An edge blocks a matching if both end vertices are eager to switch to that edge instead of staying with their respective partners. We assume that everybody who lists up another person is eager to move in with that person rather than staying alone or staying outside of the system. So being unmatched is always worse than being matched to a person to whom I have an edge. So the orange edge in this example blocks the blue matching because D is eager to switch and B is also eager to switch to the orange edge. If there is no such orange edge, such blocking edge, then we say that the matching is stable. Okay, so let's take a look at this tiny instance. I just reduced the earlier one. Only 3 persons, A, B, and D. You can quickly see that this is a problematic instance if you want to find a stable matching here. It's a symmetric instance, so either you go for the empty matching, which is obviously blocked by any edge, or you go for an arbitrary edge, whichever it should be symmetric. So if you want to claim that A, B is a stable solution, for example, then you can obviously see that AD blocks AB because A is eager to switch and D, who was unmatched, is eager to take anybody basically in the instance. So this instance does not admit any stable matching. If you know the word of stable marriages, then you obviously see the first difference. Stable marriages are nice and well behaving because they always have, each instance has a stable matching, but stable roommates problems are different. They have no instances as well. But no worries, because there's an efficient algorithm since the 80s deciding whether there is a stable matching or not, even if the graph is non-bipartite. You can see that if you go a bit deeper into stable matchings, the theorems that hold for the bipartite instances usually don't go through very easy for non-bipartite instances. Very often it's a polynomial problem in one and it's a hard problem in the other case. The more general case, it's very often hard, or it requires much more complex methods to solve the problem. For example, the Irving algorithm is a lot more complicated than the usual Gay-Shapley algorithm, which we have for the bipartite case. Okay, so this much about the stable matching problem. We need this basis for popular matchings, which I will define now. Exact same instance. We have the 6 agents, and the edges mean the same. 2 agents are willing to move in together. Numbers mean the same. Now, I want a community optimal solution because stability is sort of locally optimal. If there are 2 persons who can flout the system, they will do this. They run off together and spoil the whole thing. Popular matching is a lot more community optimal in a sense. Let's start with the matching we had earlier. We know this is not stable, but this is a matching. And let's try to compare it with the other matching. It's just one matching I chose. So we've got an orange matching and the blue matching now. And before telling you what the definition of popularity is, I would like to ask you a question. The question is a decision question, of course, because you only have a yes and no button. So my question is, do you think that the blue matching is better for the community, whatever it means, than the orange matching? So if you are from feeling for the blue matching, then please click yes, otherwise please click no. You don't have to have a very specific reasoning behind this. Okay, so I check the votes. Oh, there are yeses. Is there any no? I can't see any no. So oh, there is a no, there is a no. There are a couple of no's. Okay, but most people say it's better. I assume the reason is because it's larger. It might be a reason, but there are several methods to compare two matchings. Many of them can be correct. One is used to define popularity. And this is a voting-based method. It means you have agents anyways. Agents they can decide which matching they like more. Take agent D, for example. Agent D has 2 options. either blue matching, which is not very good, or the red matching, which is his favorite choice. So if you ask agent D to vote, he can definitely vote with the orange. So you have 6 voters sitting in the 6 vertices, and you can ask every single one of them which matching they prefer, right? Why not? This is one way of comparing 2 matchings. I'm not saying it's the best way. So if I do that, then I will get these 6 votes. So if you take a look at A is unmatched in the orange one, but she has his first choice in the blue one, so it's definitely a blue vote, and so on. So according to this comparison definition, the blue and the orange matchings are equally good, based on this community optimal definition of comparing 2 matchings. So more precisely, we say that a matching M is called more popular than a matching N if it receives strictly more votes than N. For 2 matchings, the blue is not more popular than the orange, and the orange is not more popular than the blue. They are equally popular. And regarding the entire instance, we say that a matching is popular in the entire instance if it is never strictly defeated in such a pairwise comparison. It's fine to have as many votes as other matchings, but equally many or more. So for these 2 matchings we have right now in the instance, from the information we have right now, both of them could be popular in the instance. We don't know it yet. Okay. If you are from the voting context, you will quickly see that this definition is equivalent to the weak Condorcet winner. So we define popular matchings. We have seen this instance. This is our favorite 3 preference cycle. So if I ask you, is there a stable matching? You will obviously say no. We have seen this. There is no stable matching. If I take an edge, if I take A, B, then B, C will block it. Now my question is there a popular matching? If you like, you can also push yes or no. This is an easy question though. Don't know how many are pushing. Anyway, so you see that it is also not a popular matching because AB as a matching is defeated by BC. B and C, as on a blocking edge, they vote for the orange matching, and similarly, AC defeats BC and AB defeats AC in popularity. So there is no popular matching either in this. Okay, also this example gives you an insight into the nature of popularity. There is no degree of popularity. You can't say that this matching has a popularity degree of 0.5 or something because it can be cyclic, as you have seen on this. So this is my favorite instance, popular matching instance. Take a look at this. This is almost the same as we had earlier. We have the ABC preference cycle, but I added a guy in the middle, D. Now, poor D's role is very simple. Everybody hates him. Does D change the landscape? So my first question is there a stable matching? Take just a second to think about it, and then please push yes or no. I'll wait that out. Oh, lots of no's. Oh, there's one yes, I think. I like if it's a variety. Okay, so there is none. The same way there was no stable matching earlier. If you take any edge in the outside, and you have to take that edge because this is a complete graph, so you have to go for a perfect matching. If you take any edge, say AB, then however you complete this matching, obviously you can only complete with DC, but then still BC will block. So for the same reason as earlier, there is no stable matching. Second question, obviously you know me by now. Is there a popular matching in this instance? Take a second to think about it, and again, push yes or no. Okay, yeses, I see yeses. Okay, so those people who pushed something pushed yes as far as I see. Excellent, that's very good. True, so the orange matching is popular. Now you can believe me because I prepared these slides and stuff, but if you think about it, how to verify this statement, the only method we have learned so far is to compare it to all other matchings in the instance. You can do this easily now because there are essentially only 3 matching in this instance. What you can imagine if it grows a bit larger, you don't want to list up all the matchings because it's exponential time. Also, there's another nicety of this. This is the popular matching I found, and I believe strictly that this was the popular matching in the instance for a couple of weeks, I think, until I found this one, which is also popular matching. So you have the simplest instance you can imagine in the roommates instance, just a triangle with cyclic preferences, and then you add this dummy guy who everybody hates, and immediately you generate from 0 stable matchings to popular matchings. So popular matchings do behave differently from stable matchings, and we haven't really found a way to find them, to verify them. So this had the existence of them. So this is what this talk will be about. First paper on the popular roommates problem is from 2010. These 3 authors showed that verifying whether a given matching is popular can be done in polynomial time. You don't have to compare the given matching to all other possible matchings in the instance. You can do some smart edge weights and then compute the weight of the starting matching in the weighted matching instance. Smart strategy. Also, they showed that there is a very strict connection between stable and popular matchings. Namely, stable matchings are a subset of popular matchings. And they are also a smallest cardinality popular matchings. There might be other smallest cardinality popular matchings, but they form a subset of popular matchings if stable matchings exist at all. Now, we have seen in this instance that there are instances where there is no stable matching, but there is a popular matching. So if there is no stable matching in the instance, we still don't know how to decide whether there is a popular matching or not. Now, this was the central open question in popular matchings, I think, for years. What is the complexity of deciding the existence of a popular matching in the roommates instance? And well, oddly, it was solved by 2 times 4 authors in the same month after being open for several years. The 2 proofs are both very involved, very long. They start from 2 different hard problems, and they use very different gadgets, a lot of them. And they happen to come out in the same month. So they both went to the same conference, which was SODA. So the central problem turned out to be NP complete. Now, what can you do with that? Well, if you're on the computational side, you know what you can do with that. Exact algorithms, approximations, special cases. Things are hard, then you have to find easier parts. So what we did, this was not before the other 2 papers, this was afterwards, this conferences shifted with a couple of months and so on. That's why the earlier date. What we did with Kavita was showing that the hardness proof is still intact if the graph is complete. Now, usually these results are not very interesting. I mean, even hardness results are not considered to be interesting. I have a different opinion on that, but anyways. But just completing the graph is usually not very interesting. But we found a very interesting bit which we did not expect to find in this hardness proof, which I would like to talk to you about in detail. So this is the theorem. Deciding the existence of a popular matching in a roommate's instance is NP complete, even if the graph is complete. Now, this theorem boils down to 2 parts, and this is the interesting part. If the number of vertices is odd, then each popular matching has to be stable. Otherwise, the problem is hard. So in general, the problem is hard, but in the special case of an odd number of vertices, then each popular matching has to be stable. What does it mean? We know that stable matchings have to be popular. Popular matchings have to be stable, so they are the same set. Why is it so good for me? Because popular matchings can be calculated. Deciding whether a popular matching exists is easy. It has been known since 1985. So I would like to show you the left part. The right part is a horrendous long proof of hardness. Nobody wants to be entertained the remaining 5 minutes by that. But the left part is really nice, actually. So I will show you a proof by picture. Most convincing proofs. So it's an indirect proof. I start with an unstable popular matching. I assume there is an unstable popular matching. I start drawing this matching. I know that this is unstable, so the first thing I draw about this matching is the blocking edge. This is unstable, it has a blocking edge. I call this CB. So I also know that it's an odd number of vertices, and I'm searching for a matching. So what is there for sure Well, an unmatched vertex. You can't match everybody among an odd number of vertices. So there's an unmatched vertex. Can it be C or B? Well, not really. If C is unmatched, then adding CB to the instance immediately results in 2+ votes, 2 orange votes, and 1 vote against the matching. But so I've already constructed a more popular matching. C and B cannot be unmatched. The unmatched vertex must be somewhere else in the graph. I'll call that E. This is unmatched. Also, what I've seen, C and B are matched. So I just draw those edges. C and B are matched in the matching I assume to be popular but unstable. The black edges belong to this matching. We are only one step away from proving this theorem. And it comes from the completeness of the graph. I need that. Since the graph is complete, this unmatched E has an edge to everybody in the graph. In particular, it has an edge to D as well. D might hate this edge, but E would be happy to be matched to D. So I found an augmenting path which makes C and B happier, same way with E. D and A will get less happy, but nobody cares because majority decides. So I constructed a more popular matching from a blocking edge. Therefore, no blocking edge can occur in any popular matching. Proof by picture. So the moral of the story is that this is a combinatorial problem, a quite simple combinatorial problem, where the complexity depends on the parity of the number of vertices, which I personally find extremely neat, and we haven't found any example for that elsewhere. And we didn't expect this to happen when we started the proof. This just came along the way. Okay. So this was a special case which is not hard in the hardness. Second, very usual computational approach is exact time or simply exponential time exact algorithms. Kavita has worked out one of them. It runs in OK n time, poly n time, and is a number of vertices. And it also works if there are costs on the edges. Now, K is a tricky number there. So if K is large, then you know that this algorithm is nice for theorists like me, but not very practical. So K comes from a recent breakthrough result from a